This morning we had a powwow, all the agents, or at least the agents in my group, and there was one agent who had a buyer who was doing nothing but throwing out lowball offers, which is kind of laughable right now in this market because there's so many people, at least here in Wilmington and probably where you are too, who are trying to buy and there's just not enough sellers. That everyone, the media keeps pumping this idea that like the world is going to cave in on itself once forbearances come up, and I won't go into all that, but we got a lot of people who are like waiting, right? And I'm not quite sure what kind of strategy that is. When I sold my house, we thought we were at the top of the market then, and I was like, here, I'll put a bow on it. Take it, take it. But so she has these people, and they're losing out house after house after house because they keep throwing in $10,000 under, and they want closing costs. And it's like 2008 called, and they want their strategy back. So she was just beside herself on how to talk to these people. And we went through all these scenarios, and then I finally raised my hand and I said, I gotta be honest, like these people might be my relatives, like, because that is exactly how I was when I bought a house. I wanted to feel like I won something. And so I was coming in way low, way low. And then I finally got to the house that I really wanted, and suddenly that strategy didn't make sense anymore. And so the thing that I talked to her about, which I would tell anybody who's buying right now, is one, yeah, you've got to decide, is it worth losing this house? Like, really think about that. Just imagine that tomorrow you pull up your MLS or wherever you're looking at homes, and yesterday the house that you love so much was active, and today it says pending. And if you've been looking at houses for any amount of time, there's this fear of missing out, FOMO, when you're like, oh, somebody else got it. And quietly inside, you're rooting that it falls out of contract so that you can have it back again. But that's what you're dealing with. Like, is it worth it? And it's probably not if you feel like it's the one. The other thing that I told her to talk to her buyers about, which I'm going to talk to all of you about, is that when we talk about buying a home, the numbers are so big and so profound. And we we compare what our monthly housing payment is going to be to our current one, or what our monthly housing payment will be to rent. And that's how people level comparisons of what is a good deal and what's not. So her buyers are missing out on a home over $10,000. But this is what I wanted to point out. And I just got, these mortgage calculators are usually garbage. Like, you have to have a loan officer do this, but it gives us a good idea. Okay? So her people are coming in 10, 10, 10, 10, and they're getting nothing. But remember, it's not like rent. You're pulling that value over 30 years or 15 years. So here's the difference, okay? If it's a $250,000 home, and I'm going to use today's interest rate, which is like 2.75% last I checked. 30 years, we're at $1,021 for your P&I, your monthly payment, and like taxes and everything are above that. But $1,021. Now, if I adjust that, let's say I go up to $260,000. So we're still talking about the same $10,000. Now the monthly payment is $1,061. We are dealing with a $40 difference. Is it worth it? Can you come up with $40? You can come up with $40. You know how you come up with $40? You don't do what I did today, which is, and it goes on and it's on both sides of me. I mean, like, they're stacked. That's my business. But $40. But we don't look at houses that way. And in the same regard, you should also say, like, hey, reminder, you're going to be paying that for 30 years. Like, But it's really a nominal amount when you draw it out over time. And where we get tripped up when we find the one is that we're just looking at those large chunks of money, and they are relevant because on every dollar you're paying interest. But if it is the one, is it really worth losing it over to fight for that 10 when it's $40 a month? Like, that's where it might not make sense. So that's just one way to look at when you're on the buyer's end of things. let's talk about that interest rate though, because like I said, we can't get people to sell their houses right now. Like I call them all morning long and I'm like, I don't know how to say this to you. If you need me to get an Etch-a-Sketch and draw it out, I will. But this is a historic market and I don't know that you'll ever get more for your home right now. And they're like, well, I don't want to sell right now because where would I live? And I'm like, I would live in a tent under a bridge to get like this kind of value. Anyway, I won't go there. But, you know, everyone, we have a whole generation of home buyers, like my age range, right, who have never seen high interest rates. And whenever we talk about that, anyone who's like over 40 or 50 will tell you about 9%, 12%. And then like, you know, everyone, Gen X and down has not known a world above like 4.5. And now for a whole year, we're probably going to come in under 3. So the concern there is that when you have people who are so accustomed to low interest rates, the second you bump them up at all, people will draw back, especially my generation of home buyers, because we've not known high interest rates. So how dare you charge anything above 3%? My God. Okay, so today they ticked up, right? And they go all over the place, but today they ticked up. So, and I've gotten a bunch of different numbers depending on where I'm looking, but right now I'm looking at Fox Business, and they're saying that coming in hot today, what is it, October 19th, 2020, 30-year fixed, 2.75%. Here's what you need to know. For every 1% that an interest rate goes up or down, that affects buying power by like 10 to 11%. So if you're holding on to that property tight, because you think that the grass is going to be greener like in the spring or so. I mean, maybe it will. But the second that that rate goes up, if it goes up by 1%, the people who could be buying your home are now, they have 11% less power to do so. And if you don't think that that will cause significant impact in who's showing up to look at your property, yeah. Same thing for buyers. I don't know. I mean, maybe they'll get lower again, but this is like, this is, you know, for everything awful with COVID, this is like a gift from the mortgage gods. If it goes up 1%, your buying power is down by 10 to 11%. So, you know, I know people get irritated when I call and when other agents call and we're like, please, 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 please list your property, or like, let's go look at houses now. Let's get you pre-qualified now. But it's because we're staring at these numbers and like on the other side of the phone going, what are you waiting for? Like, where? So just things to think about. You know, ultimately finding a home is about finding something that you can see yourself in for years and years and that you absolutely fall in love with. But on our side of the coin, it's a lot of math and numbers and strategy, and like you also have to be thinking this way too. So you can digest all that tonight, and I'm gonna go deal with, I don't even remember buying these things. I hope to God they're gifts, because if not, I'm gonna have to put credit cards in the freezer. But I can quit anytime I want. Anytime I want.